All right. Let's see. Freaking eyes are crossed. I'm so sorry for being late, guys. I gotta do something about these damn contacts. Oh, it's been a very stressing day, guys. A very stressing day. You have to excuse me. Guys, I put in my extensions. It was chilly the past few days. And if you're familiar with having short hair and it's cold outside, yeah, that's not good for the scalp. So I went and I put my hair in, and I'm just hoping that my track isn't showing from the clip-ins. If it is, don't mind me, guys. We got Hi Gucci, we got Stella G. Hey Gilbert. Thank you, Stella. Thank you. My hair is like I'm looking at myself, I'm like, as long as they don't see the track. As long as they don't see the track, I'm good. Oh, I know I was running a little late, guys, and I apologize for that. I normally put up excuse me, my computer's acting up. I normally put up the post about, going live and stuff. I've been so busy at work today, I didn't even have a chance to do that. Oh, let me just I'm so out of it, guys. I got two computers in front of me and I keep using the mouse for a computer that's I'm going to timestamp this live, guys. So anyone who um anyone who is unable to join today's live, but you catch it on the stream, just go forward to the timestamp. Press the timestamp so you get there sooner. All right. Gucci, what we talking about tonight? I love that. I love the enthusiasm of okay, what's on the menu tonight? Guys, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. You guys know me, I just ramble on. I just keep rambling. But we could talk about anything you guys want to talk about. I did want to mention on today's live what I did mention on the TikTok live as well, and I'll be posting up that stream. I'll be posting that up next week. But I wanted to talk about because I know you have different people in their different stages of their discard. Hi Ty, hi sweetheart. You have different people who are at different stages of their discard, and you have some people that are still in the ruminating stages, and you have some people that are still in the you know not really stuck on the person but still kind of back and forth. So um one of the things that I talked about in this past week's the TikTok live session, one of the things I spoke about was the different types of wounds that people have, especially people who get involved in narcissistically abusive relationships. I mentioned betrayal wound. I mentioned there's betrayal wound, there is rejection wound, and of course the abandonment wound. We have different types of wounds, and if you come from a codependent background, or if you have been if you've gone to therapy and they've informed you that you have codependency, severe codependency, you would be very, very familiar with those wounds. Okay, Gucci, can you translate this for me? Don't think shit's sweet. We get the drop. We gotta swing it. He indirectly said this to me weeks ago, and I left 2 years ago. Oh, and I'm putting him in jail. I think that might be the main reason why he said it. Um, I mean, I don't know if he's aware that that's going to happen. That's what you're going to do, but that might be the reason why. You know, these people say things, guys. They do things to really get a rise out of you. You know, it's to irk you and get like just to get the rise that they want out of you. Okay, and they know that by being petty, being foolish and childish, and doing all of these things that go against the grain with you, they know that it's affecting you. And you know, with narcissistic people, they're the kind of people that, you know, they feed off of attention. They feed off of any kind of attention you can give them, whether it be negative or positive attention. That's their thing. That's what they want to do. Okay. And at the end of the day, as survivors, and of course, you know, for some of those who are victims, just understand that it takes at least two players to have a game going on. So if you're not willing to play the game, or if you're not trying to play the game with them, don't. Don't. They need people to play in order to continue, you know, wreaking their havoc and continue acting the way they do, tormenting people, harassing people, you know, extreme pettiness. It's if you stop feeding it, what happens when you stop feeding something that needs, you know, fuel, that needs food to survive? It eventually dies. So if you stop feeding into that, stop feeding into their attempts, stop feeding into their, you know, triangulation or their attempted hoovers or what have you. If you stop doing that, they'll see that, you know, their attempts don't affect you. You know, sometimes they may try to take it to the extreme and really try to go harder and like really push deeper, but at some point they eventually get bored with the situation because they see it's not going anywhere. What's the point in playing a game if it's not really going anywhere? What's the point of playing the game if I'm left to play by myself? You know, and they're the kind of people, we know that they're the kind of people that don't like to play by themselves. They don't like to play by the rules. They don't like to play by themselves. And it would be pretty redundant, pretty, you know, pretty stupid to sit there and continuously act a fool and continuously, you know, do the things that they do, and nobody's paying attention to them. Nobody's paying mind to them. So I always, you know, advise people is stay away from them as far as you can, but don't feed into what it is that they're doing. Because what it is they're doing is simply being children who just want, you know, who are throwing fits because they want attention. Don't give it to them. Yeah, Gucci, when one thing you got to understand, a narcissistic person is the kind of person who likes to win at all cost. They like to win at all costs, which means that even when you stop and you're not dealing with them and you decide to just, you know, go your own way and do your own thing, they're still in it. They're still in it. It's like in their eyes, you're still theirs regardless. You're still theirs. Okay, you're their property. They're your owner. It's a never ending thing for them. Okay, and they will try to find ways to either get to you, get messages to you, get people to contact you, you know, try to you know, harass you from, you know, when they create fake accounts or when they're pretty much monitoring you and the things that you do. It's all a game for them. It's all a game for them. And the fact that people get left in confusion is part of that. You know, when they leave you in confusion, that means that you're unsure of your feelings. To be confused means to be unsure. You're unsure of your feelings. You're unsure of reality. You're unsure of what it is that's going on. And you really don't know how to respond to things because you don't want to end up like I noticed. One of the things I noticed with victims of narcissistic abuse is that because of the immense gaslighting and the confusion that's put onto them, they become so confused that they don't know if the decisions that they're making are the right decisions, Well, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I shouldn't have walked away. Maybe I should have, sat and listened to what they had to say. There is no maybe. There is, you saw everything for what it was. Everything that they are was demonstrated in front of you. It was put right in front of your face. So what is there to really think about? Think about that. What is there to really think about? What do I need to really think about when it boils down to someone who's disrespected me and degraded me and discarded me and, manipulated me and had done all of these things to make me feel less of a person, less of a human being? What is there to think about? I'm very much a tough love kind of person. And the way I see it is, the clarity, the closure, and everything that you ever needed within that whole dynamic was given to you. You just think that, in some cases, you just think that you're confused because, you're heavily gaslighted. So it's kind of hard to make cohesive, coherent decisions. And in this case, yeah, you think, well, we haven't been around each other for so long. We haven't been in each other's lives for a year. Or we haven't talked to each other, or we haven't been around each other. That doesn't mean that they have not been watching you. That doesn't mean that they have not been monitoring the things that you do. People think that, well, a narcissist is just pretty much that they're just, okay, it's all over and done with. I rejected them, so now they're going to go away. Rejection for a narcissist is narcissistic injury. And even if they're trying to come around, even if they're trying to contact you, or if they're trying to, trying to hoover you back in, it's not for the reason that you think. Or you may think it's not for the reason. I have come to, I've come to the awareness and acknowledgement, and I've reached that epiphany, and I now understand, and I want to change for you. No. Someone a narcissistic nature, no. Okay, a narcissist is classified and defined as someone who is very selfish, very self-absorbing. Okay, their needs come before yours. Their desires come before yours. And in the interim of your relationship, if they were doing nice things for you, it wasn't because they felt you genuinely deserved it. It was because at some point you were going to pay them back for that. You were going to give them back for that. And in the future, they would have held that over your head. They would have not let you live it down. Hey, sweetheart. Gee, I realized over time how underwhelming his concepts of love were, even as destructive as it felt. Yeah, I mean, he was a bore, crazy making to make him feel feelings at all. He had little to thrive on, little to grow from. And that's usually their stance in life. Their stance in life is, again, this depends on the type of narcissistic person you're dealing with, because not all of them are the same, guys. Not all of them come in on a high horse. Not all of them come in with a pedestal and giving you that illusion that they are of the utmost importance. You have a lot of them who come from very, very toxic backgrounds, from very abusive backgrounds. By abusive, I mean verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, and in most cases, physically abusive. So depending on the type of narcissistic individual you're dealing with, you know, at the end of the day, they're basically headed for utter destruction. Okay. And people, who try to sit there and try to save them, or if they say, well, if I give this person more love, or if I show them something different, or if I show them that, you're loved, then it's okay. Listen, there have been people before you trying to do that. Okay. There have been people before you trying to do that. And at the end of the day, these people don't want your love. These people don't want your, your genuineness to reciprocate that to you. They want something from you that they can just take whenever they want, that they can have at their own convenience. Narcissists are not the kind of people who should be in relationships. They're not the kind of people who can maintain, sustain relationships. They're just the kind of people who are very self-serving people. So it's pretty much get what I can out of a situation or out of people or out of situations and give the bare minimum, but giving that false impression of, I'm doing my best, or, what I'm giving you, you should be happy with that. And I'm in the midst of speaking with different people, doing sessions with different people and trying to help them understand, because you have different people that are on different levels of this spectrum. You have different people as far as the spectrum of healing is concerned. You have people who are still in the addiction stage, and you have people that are, kind of moving on from that and getting on with their lives. But at the end of the day, you know, what you do from this point on is going to determine your progression for yourself. Forget them. It's going to determine your progression for yourself. And at the end, if they see that you've walked away, first and foremost, you walk away from them and you give them the heave ho, or you just, you tell them off. Please do not for any second think that even if some time goes by, could be a good amount of time, it could be a short amount of time, but if some time goes by and they decide to come back to you and say, I'm going to change, I've changed my ways and I've done all of, all the work I needed to do, you got to remember that when you've given rejection to someone who has made it their business to try to steer clear from that, and who's made it their business to put you down while they try to lift themselves up, their return is not for the most genuine of reasons. It's not. It really isn't. When you have someone who is so fixated on competition and so fixated on proving a point just to say, well, I can get this person to change their mind. I can get this person back in my life, even after the way I treated them and after everything I've done to them. You're going to be sadly mistaken in thinking that these people are there for anything but, because they're not about emotional sustainability. They're not about having that connection with other people. Okay, they lack the capacity to have empathy. Okay, they're unable to feel empathy towards other people's situations, and even if you're going through a bad situation in your life, they'll sit there and compare themselves to your situation. You can have something really bad going on, or for example, let's just say, your grandparents, or one of your grandparents is in the hospital, and you're having a really bad time with it and you're really trying to cope with things. You know what their typical response would be? Well, at least you still have, my grandparents are dead. It's like it's that level of, you're going through a bad situation, but I have it worse. I've had it worse. And they would manage to flip the script and making you feel bad for them, completely negating the fact that you're dealing with the situation. These are the kind of people that a lot of people have dealt with. Or if you've ever, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and being really, really badly sick. Like I felt really, really ill, really sick. And, clearly I wake up in the middle of the night and I go to, I run to the bathroom to deal with it. And while I'm trying to deal with it, the person that I was with at the time didn't even get off the bed to see if I was okay. If anything, he got annoyed at the fact that I was making too much noise. I was making too much noise, so much to the point that I heard him suck his teeth in his sleep. Like, what do we, what, let's, and this goes for anyone who, especially people, because a lot of you already know what the deal is, but for people who have like dealing with the discard at a very early, at a very, very early stage, let me tell you something, man. When you get to where I'm at, when you get to where a lot of survivors are, that they feel complete indifference, you're going to say to yourself, what the hell was I crying about? What was I fucking dealing with to sit there? Because once you go back and you realize the kind of emotionless people they are, the kind of unempathetic people, where you had to pull teeth just to get certain things because by asking them to compromise, even that was too much. When you get to that stage, you're going to see it and you're going to say to yourself, why am I getting upset? Why am I crying? Why am I hurting? Why am I in pain over someone or people? It could be anybody who completely had no regard for me, because that's the reality of it. People can say, oh, well, they did nice things. Okay, psychopaths do nice things before they actually commit the crimes that they're going to do. What does that have to do with anything? I get it. Yeah, it seemed real. I get it. It seemed like, oh, but it's so confusing. No, it's not confusing. It's not confusing. The reality of it is that they gave you an illusion. They love bombed you. They, gave you this impression that they were this great person. They gave you this idea that, their treatment towards you is warranted and you deserved it. They gave you all of that. They projected onto you their trauma. They projected onto you their trust issues, their paranoia, their wounds. They projected all of that onto you. And for anybody who's gone through the cycles over and over again, meaning that you have done it, you went on this merry-go-round more than once with the same person or even the same kind of people, okay? This is something that you really have to take into consideration in understanding that you have suffered, especially if you've gone through a cycle constantly, you're going through the same cycle with the same person and they betrayed you. That's called a betrayal wound, okay? That's a betrayal wound. A betrayal wound is pretty much the wound that has been inflicted by someone in your life that you have put full and complete, utter trust in. Subsequently, what follows a betrayal wound is betrayal blindness. And I think this applies a lot for people who go through the same cycles with the same person over and over again. It's kind of like that breakup to makeup to breakup to makeup type of situation. Although betrayal blindness is correlated with people who cannot leave a relationship or a situation because there's a form of dependency there. There's a form of, I need this person to survive, or I depend on this person. So if you had someone in your life that has committed betrayal after betrayal after betrayal after betrayal, but you see that you're not letting that person go, or you're not releasing yourself from that person, there's usually a level of extreme codependency, or the idea, I think it's an idea that you need some, because you don't need anyone to survive, truthfully. You really don't. But this is a thought process that victims put in their mind. So if you had a parent who was constantly betraying you, and by betraying, you could be anything, guys. It could be anything in your life. But if you had a parent that was constantly betraying you, betraying your trust, but you felt completely trapped because you relied on that person, you inherently create betrayal blindness. So you're pretty much turning a blind eye to the betrayal, because at the end of the day, what can I do about it? I rely on this person. I depend on this person. It could be financially, it could be, it could be where you have nowhere to go, so you live in their home. It could be anything. It goes on in families, and it goes on in marriages. It goes on in romantic relationships. The trauma bond that you have with the person is the toxic bond that has been formed in the duration of your relationship. But the betrayal wound is pretty much where they could be infidelitous, meaning they're cheating on you, or they've cheated on you once and you took them back. and they cheated on you again and you took them back, and they cheated on you a third time and you took them back. That is, you're being blind to the betrayal of the party or the parties that are inflicting that betrayal on you. Often children who have parents, when they're, especially when they're very small, they have parents who have betrayed them throughout their lives, whether it be physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse. It can happen. It can happen. And basically, as a coping mechanism, what people do, like people with domestic violence, as a coping mechanism, they create this level of blindness to the actual betrayal that's going on. This is a theory that was, I forget the name of the psychologist, but I'm going to do more on these in my videos, my future videos, and make sure that I mention, the psychiatrist who came with these theories. This was a theory that was, it came about like in the 90s, early to mid 90s. And it's pretty much where it's like you're just, in layman's terms, you're turning a blind eye to the abuse. You're turning a blind eye to the betrayals. And and I think a lot of like the rejection wound and the abandonment wound, that plays a very big role as well. In constantly going back and forth to the same people who have been constantly betraying you, and constantly going back to that same ex who constantly, and listen, they don't have to cheat on you, guys. They don't have to cheat on you. They could just be straight up disrespecting you whenever they have a chance. They could be straight up totally disregarding you and degrading you. That is a form of betrayal. A natural response to betrayal is what? Separation. We separate ourselves from the people. The people who betray us, we separate ourselves. We take ourselves out of the equation and we say, no, you betrayed me. You betrayed my trust. I'm not dealing with this. I don't want anything to do with this. With a betrayal wound, because the infliction runs so deep, people who suffer betrayal wounds, people who create betrayal blindness, eventually they just stay in it. And they keep running the same cycles over and over and over again. So not only is the trauma bond becoming more and more enmeshed, but now their core belief is, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I have nowhere to go. I don't have a job. I don't have any money. I can't go into the world. This person is my source of funds. This person is my stability. Where am I going to go? I can't leave. This person might kill me if I leave. Where am I going to go? Okay. And that is, it just thinking more and more about it. And then when I see when people, reach out and people are going through their emotions, we got to understand that when someone betrays you, when someone betrays your trust, and you clearly see that they are betraying your trust and they're crossing those boundaries, you got to walk away from that. You have to walk away from it. Give me 1 second, guys. Hi, Jennifer. Let me just make sure. Hi, Alyssa. Hey, Heather. Now Butch, hey, sweetheart. Another type of wound that I wanted to mention to you guys was also called the rejection wound. I know a lot of you may be familiar with it because we've mentioned it a lot. We've mentioned it quite a few times. The rejection wound is pretty much a wound that is, pretty much that someone carries. It could be, from childhood up into their adulthood. It's a wound that they carry from being rejected as a child. If your parents didn't give you enough attention or affection, or if they were emotionally avoidant or, narcissistic, what have you, that creates a rejection wound. And I think a lot of victims who are discarded, or a lot of because a lot of people who are in relationships with narcissists or narcissistic people, a lot of them are codependents. Okay, because a codependent and a narcissist is pretty much, it's pretty much like chocolate, chocolate and milk, just mixing it together. It meshes well because both of these people suffer the same type of trauma. They just pretty much internalize their afflictions in different ways. But the rejection wound is really what gets triggered when you're going through a discard. So when people who sit there wondering, why can't I let this person go? Or, after everything they've done, why can't I let this person go? Why can't I release this person? Why am I begging this person to stay with me? Why am I telling them that I'll change my ways? It's because your rejection wound is being triggered. It's being triggered. When someone is rejecting you, you're basically brought back to that trauma. You're brought back to that traumatic time in your life. And you're knowing that the person is not healthy, knowing that the relationship is not healthy, but you're still pushing to keep it. You're still pushing to stay in the relationship. It's because, one, your rejection wound is being triggered, but two, so are your abandonment wounds. And abandonment doesn't have to just be that, oh well, a parent physically abandoned you and they just left you, left you out and out of nowhere and just walked away. It can be a form of abandonment on an emotional and a psychological level, where they create a barrier between themselves. A parent creates a barrier between themselves and the child, and what the child automatically thinks is, something's wrong with me, that my own mom, my own dad, they have no interest in me. So what does a child do? This is what causes codependency. A child eventually tries to, to get themselves noticed, to get themselves, some kind of attention or affection from the parent. They're pretty much, hey mom, hey dad, look at me. They're trying to help out. They're trying to do things outside of themselves, or more so, they're trying to exceed. So they're trying to, do all types of things to get their parents' attention, just so they can show them some type of love. This is why codependent people end up in transactional relationships. You end up in relationships with the kind of people who can see your insecurities, who can pretty much see that you clearly fear being alone, or you feared being alone. They can see that the way that they're treating you, you still have not left. That's the thing. That this is another thing I want you guys to understand. In a relationship, when your partner sees that they have done certain things or said certain things, yeah, it may have put you on edge, but you still had not left the dynamic. That lets them know that there is something there that they can play with you. Because people don't know. I mentioned this. People do not know if you're codependent. They don't know if you're a narcissist. They don't know if you have any kind of personality disorder or mental illness just by looking at you. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. They know this based on your actions. And even though I'm not making excuses. I'm not saying that you're the reason why they acted the way they did. But they knew that they could act the way they did because there were certain things that you were doing, certain things I was doing, certain things that a lot of other people were doing in the relationship that was enabling them to continue on. And we could sit here and say to ourselves, yeah, well, I don't care what anyone says, I was a good person and I didn't deserve that. You're right, you were a good person, you didn't deserve it, but the fact remains that even though it was no good for us, we still enabled it. Even though the situation was highly toxic, we still stayed. We still put up with a lot of things, and we still allowed those things to go on. At the end of the day, we have to take accountability for that. These people suffer the same type of wounds that a lot of other people suffer. These people, the only difference between them and us is that they adopted the abusive behaviors. We didn't. They decided to just create the hard shell, make that their defense mechanism, and they pretty much allow themselves to say, something, I don't trust anyone. I don't trust anyone's motives. I'm going to hurt someone before they hurt me. It's like kill or be killed. That's their mentality. That's how they internalize their afflictions. And of course, codependents are, I just want love. I just want a connection. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that I can not only have that, but I can sustain that. Do you actually think they own us? He threatens me all the time. They think that they can control you because of, and I listen, I can speak from a point of that's logical, that's really logical. They think they own their victims because the victims had allowed them to get away with a lot of things. They think they own people because the same people allowed them to get away with certain things. How many times I mentioned this plenty of times before. One of the reasons why it's because you let them get away with something, whatever that was, whatever that red flag was, whatever that situation was, you allowed them, or I'll do one better. There was a misunderstanding or something or what have you. And because you really did not want things to end, you really did not want things, even though they were blowing things out of proportion or saying whatever, you pretty much bowed. You bowed down, okay? And you were willing to buckle at the knees and say, you know what? I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to lose you because I think we can work things out. And the level of what they can get away with determines their level of control. Not to mention, or should I say, not to forget, the level of fear that is instilled in people in these types of dynamics. Fear of abandonment. Okay, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of being alone. A lot of codependents fear being alone. You have people with dependent personality disorder too, where they are completely dependent on other people, that they cannot sustain their own autonomy. They cannot be on their own, let alone be alone. And these levels of different fears that a lot of people, possibly a lot of you held on to, and I said it before, I'm going to say it again. The best way to control someone is to find out their fear and use it against them. Find out their fear and use it against them. The best way to make you act like a good little girl or a good little boy, and for you to not talk back to them, for you to not question them, for you to not negate anything they're saying and bitch and moan to them, the best way for them to maneuver around to maneuver around you and be able to, use things to their advantage, you weaponize situations against you, is to learn your fear. This is why they want to know things about you. This is why they ask questions, or, you in your relationships, you thought, oh, they want to get to know me. They want to get to know me. They're asking me so many questions. They're so interested in me. Nah, man. No. They weren't trying to get to know you. They were trying to learn what makes you tick. They're trying to learn what your fears are. And if you have, which I'm sure a lot of you are probably very familiar with the betrayal wound, and learning, when you learn more about it, you'll realize that you created a lot of blindness within these betrayals. You created a lot of blindness. And the level of codependency, the level of dependency played a big role in that too. A very big role. They have people in their lives, people who sustain relationships with people who are extremely toxic, have that level of extreme low self-esteem. There is because anyone with high self-esteem, anyone with confidence, anyone who has secure attachment, okay, they're not putting up with that shit. They're not putting up with that. They're not going to sit there and be like, okay, you cheated on me, you've been lying to me, you've been manipulating me, you've been doing all of this. Yeah, okay, fine, I'll still stay. Nah, ain't nobody secure gonna do that. No one is. But at the end of the day, you learn from these things, you learn from your mistakes, and you learn what to look for. Learn to look for the signs. Someone asked me, well, how if I see red flags, should I just let them go? I'm like, yeah, why not? Well, that's kind of, it's like thinning out the options of, let me tell you something. There's a difference between having differences with someone and someone presenting red flags, because red flags are indicative of toxicity. Okay? Having differences of opinion, having, not always seeing eye to eye on things, or not always agreeing on everything, having two different people in a relate, that's different from red flags. Red flag is what? It's indicative of no, stop, dangerous, stay away from it. Okay? It's indicative of toxicity. It's very toxic. You can have problems. You can have a relationship that has problems. You can have a relationship that has arguments, that has quarrels. It happens. That's actually normal. And any relationship that has no arguments, or, it's just too damn perfect, no, no, don't sound right to me. You need to have, you have levels of differences. But if you see someone who's presenting red flags early on, or even in the midst, because some people, and I'm pretty sure some of you have dealt with this. You saw red flags even when you guys were dating for quite some time. It didn't have to even be that early in the relationship, but you saw red flags somewhere in the middle, and you said to yourself, well, we've been together all this time. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that serious. And a lot of the time it's because you feel that you invested so much time, you invested so much, so much effort into it. What's one little red flag? That one little red flag can be the difference of complete and utter destruction, or you walking away and keeping your peace. That's like, once I went through my situation, I reached a very pivotal point in my life, and I decided that I am not afraid to lose anyone. I am seriously not afraid to lose anyone, especially if it means maintaining my peace, keeping my peace intact. I'm not afraid to lose anyone. Quite frankly, I don't want to be around anyone. So let alone me be afraid to lose anyone. But you're gonna come across different types of people. But me personally, I mean, everyone's different. I see a red flag. No, it's not happening, because that's just clearly indicative of it's toxic. It's not good. It's not going to be good from this point. It really isn't. Yeah, Stella, when you sit there, and if you accuse them, I mean, I'm one. I don't care who the other person is. Me personally, I'm one who says like this: I won't accuse you of anything unless I have concrete proof, right? And at the end of the day, there is a thing called circumstantial evidence. And at the end of the day, if you don't have any form of concrete proof, anyone can manipulate a situation and flip it around onto you, and actually, in your situation, verbally attack you, and say all kinds of hurtful, mean things. And without having the concrete proof of things, it would make the person who's accusing the other person, look pretty, just, and for lack of a better word, look pretty ridiculous. So I always, say, have proof. Like, when it comes to accusing someone and saying, no, I know you're cheating on me, you are cheating, you're sleeping with someone else, I know you're doing that, It's always best to have proof because at the end of the day, number one, that gives you your clarity. Number two, and you don't have to be confused as to whether or not they're cheating or not. But number two, it lets them know that I know who you are, what you're doing, what you're about, and this is full confirmation that I'm going to cut you off. But when you go and if you say it like without having, and I'm not saying you didn't have the proof, but if you do that, and this is for anyone, if you accuse them of cheating, if you accuse them of doing all of these things, you got to make sure all your ducks are in a row. But even so, I still wouldn't confront it with that because you don't know their levels of narcissistic rage. You don't know what may be triggering for them. Because, at the end of the day, your safety comes first. Your safety comes first. I went and when I was going through my situation, did I accuse him of cheating? I didn't accuse him of cheating. I didn't accuse him of cheating because I had no proof of that. So why was I going to sit there and say, you cheated on me? You cheated. No, I wasn't going to do that because then I'd look like a fool, if that wasn't the case. But I did see his behaviors and I did point out his behaviors and I did point out certain things that he was doing. And I did point out the gaslighting and all of that. That was enough to cause narcissistic rage. And of course, he flipped on me. He went off. But, I personally say, just be careful with that. They're not they're not the kind of people you want to have confrontations with, and they're not the kind of people that you really want to badger. And that's why they say, if once you find out they're a narcissist, just run because it's not going to get any better from that point. It really, everything is deniability. Everything is, gaslighting. You don't know what you're talking about. You didn't see anything. You're seeing things. You're making things up in your head. You're probably the one cheating and you're accusing me of doing it. Like, why would I do that to you? Why would I do that to you? How could you ask me something like that? They pussyfoot around the questions. They're not giving you direct answers. Anyone who is not doing something that they should not be doing would give you a straight up answer. But when you are seeing certain things and you know that you're seeing these things and you are presenting them with these things that you're seeing, and they know what they're doing, yeah, they're going to gaslight you. They're going to give you all kinds of, oh, you're so insecure, you're this, you're that. You make things up in your head. You're making up these stories. You're constantly, you accuse me of this, you do, and not give you a full straight out answer. They're bullshitting you. They're bullshitting you. Amazingly enough, when I dealt with this type of situation, and I just like, I got fed up because I was getting angry. I saw myself getting angry. And when I was getting angry, yeah, I said things. And it was accusatory because it's like, yo, you know what this is doing to me, but you are doing the complete opposite of what you would have wanted me to do to you. And I was angry. And I said, you know something? You want these females? You like the attention? You can have it. A man called me and cursed me out on the phone. Cursed me out. Fucking told me I was stalking him and, all kinds of nonsense. And at the end of the day, he told me, he said, he goes, if you, and this is crazy because he knew I wasn't going to ask him that. But he says, why don't you just ask me if I'm somebody else? Why don't you just ask me that? And it's the same person. I don't know if you've ever heard something like this. And ladies, ladies, listen. It's the same person that when we would have confrontations or we would have arguments or what have you, the one thing he would say, and it didn't dawn on me. That didn't dawn on me when he would say these things, but he would say, I never accused him of cheating. I never accused him. But I was, asking questions and I guess he didn't like it. And he's like, well, the only thing left is to ask me to drop my pants so you can sniff me down there. And the crazy part about it was, I'm looking at him, I looked at this person like he had 12 heads, because I'm like, where the hell is that coming from? And he goes, well, if you ask me to do that and you try to do that, it's done, it's over, we're finished. I don't know what that meant. I don't know what it means. And at the end of the day, I mean, I no longer am concerned. I no longer care about it. But these were the kinds of things that I had to face in the interim of my relationship. Okay. I had to face being looked at like I was sleeping around town, but I couldn't accuse him of anything. I couldn't say anything to him. I had to sit there and deal with all types of attitudes that had nothing to do with me. But I had to be quiet and be a good girl and sit there and take it. I had to do all of what I needed to do and give him, an excerpt of everything that I was doing. Because if I didn't, then I'm hiding things. Or if I did not mention something to him that had nothing to do with him, why didn't I tell him things? Why didn't you tell me what you were doing? Why didn't you tell me this or that? Didn't think I needed to. But yet, if I ask him and I say, well, how come you didn't tell me this or that? Then I'm controlling. I'm trying to control the person. I'm trying to control his life and how he lives it. And I had to deal with that for quite some time in my relationship. And I didn't realize then and there that, like, what am I putting up with? Why am I putting up with this? Why am I dealing with this? There were times, this is what I talk about, the covertness. There were times where we would go out, hang out with some, with his friends, because, everybody knows I don't have friends. I really don't, hang out like that. And he was, he was a different person. He was nice. He was talkative to people. He was sociable. But yet when we are alone, there was always something. There was never a day. There was never a fucking day that I could just have a break from arguing. There was never a day that I could have a break from his attitude. There wasn't a day. To the point that every time I saw the phone, my phone would ring. I would look at my phone. I didn't want to answer my phone because I didn't know what kind of argument we were going to get into. I didn't know what kind of attitude I was going to get. And I had to deal with that. And amazingly enough, I dealt with it for quite some time, because even after it all happened, I still begged the man to stay with me. I begged him to stay with me. I told him that I would change for him. I told him that I would be the woman he wants me to be, or, however way he wanted me to be. But given the likeness of the kind of females, when I saw everything at the end, because they don't listen. When you're dealing with someone who's doing a discard, the quality, it's not about quality of the females or the males, ladies. It could be, guys, I'm sorry. It's not about quality, it's about quantity. It's about validation and the ego stroke, and feeling the feeling good externally. It's about, I'm a princess, or I'm a macho man, and I'm getting all this attention. And then on top of it, I'm getting attention from you because you're begging me to stay, or you're begging me for clarity. What the crazy part about it is? The level of begging for clarity and understanding and even closure, that makes them feel like it makes them smug. It makes them really smug. So they're sitting there looking down their nose at you because they're like, yeah, you want clarity and closure. It's driving you crazy. You're begging me for something, a breadcrumb or something, and I'm not giving it to you. Thank you, G. Thank you. I mean, I can finally talk about my stories and not really be affected by it anymore. Like, truly not be affected by it anymore, because I've come to learn that, everything happened for a reason. Everything happened for a reason. And at the end of the day, I knew where I stand and where I stood, and that's what I want you guys to understand too. Know where you stood in your relationships. Okay? Stand your ground. Always stand your ground, because these people will try their hardest to tear you down, even long after you're gone. Make sure you stand your ground. Know that, something, everything you had gone through, I went through each and every emotion with this person. And it wasn't just him, guys. I've been in relationships with other people who have been abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive. It's just this one in particular had the most profound effect on me. And I couldn't understand why. And maybe that was a way to break my codependency. Maybe that was something where God got fed up with the way things were going for me. And he's like, all right, enough's enough. You're going to learn. And boom, it happened. Because at the same time, you got to remember, guys, that, in some way in your relationship, you were worshiping your relationship. You were idolizing your relationship. Okay. You were putting that relationship first. You were putting that person first. All the while, they would throw you in the back seat if someone they felt was more important came along. Like, who does that? Who does that? They would literally disregard you and put someone else before you. It could be a friend, it could be a family member of theirs, it could be anybody. And listen, I'm not saying that, you come before their family, but at the end of the day, for the very, for the general things, they would literally put other people before you. They'll put other people ahead of you. They will disrespect you in front of people. And the crazy part about it is, because the level of disrespect, it wasn't as bad in public. It wasn't as bad in public. But when the person felt like they wanted to show their machismo side, or they wanted to show that, their arrogance and their ego, and the person got like really loud and really like rude with it. As with me, I'm looking at the person, and mind you, the family didn't say anything because the family already knew, and they enabled that type of behavior. They enabled that type of behavior. They allowed it to continue on, and they're basically like, oh, this is just how they are. This is what they do. And also look at the way they talk to one another. These people, this is all adopted behavior. This is all learned behavior. So now you got to look back at the kind of people that they were raised around, they were raised by, and the kind of people who enable these toxic behaviors. At the end of the day, I look at it this way. Be careful who you bully, man. Be careful who you bully, because you just don't know what that person may end up, becoming, or may end up doing. You just don't know. Sandra, can you make a video about the covert somatic female narcissist mother and her relationship to her partner and daughters? Well, I think that because the somatic female narcissist, I mean, it's pretty standard with somatic narcissists. So you're just basically coupling that with, the video of the somatic narcissist and the narcissist mother. Yeah, those are two videos that you can couple with one another, because it's just pretty much a female narcissist with the hypersexual activities, hypersexual tendencies. Somatic narcissists are, I don't know how many of you have dealt with somatic narcissists, but they're pretty much the type of people that, that just they live vicariously, and they're very, if they got an itch, they need a scratch, or somebody has an itch and they need a scratch. It's like, and they don't care the level of commitment that you have. Like, in other words, if you're involved with someone, they don't care to, they could be the other woman, or they can be the side dude. They don't care about that. They just want the supply. That's all they want. and they want, what they can get out of you on a materialistic level, on a financial level. That's pretty much all they look for. Oh, Ty, don't get me started on the Will Smith situation. I already have my opinion about that whole situation. Stella, the arguing was unbearable. Yeah, it was very unbearable, especially for me. I got to the point that there were times that I would talk to this person on a consistent basis. It was kind of like almost routine, and we would talk, every day. And I got to a point where I didn't even want to talk to the person because I already knew their attitude and their demeanor would just bring me down. And I didn't feel like being down. I didn't feel like, dealing with an attitude, especially when I wasn't the cause of the attitude. But, when they're having a crappy day, you gotta pretty much, you gotta share that load with them. At least that's how it is in their eyes. You gotta share the load with me. I'm having a shitty day, then that means you need to be having a shitty day because, I'm not happy. And if you are feeling good or you're feeling happy, and it's just it's a no-win situation. You would never win if you end up being with them, and trying to make you're sitting there racking your brain trying to make them happy, trying to figure out ways to make them happy, trying to figure out things to do that will put a smile on their face. And it's like the more you try, the nastier they get. Like, well, screw you, then I'm not doing it. I'm not. I got to the point I stopped calling. I would just go straight to work. I go from one job to another. I would usually call during like my trip from one job to another. Yes, I work two jobs. I work two freaking jobs too. So that was another thing. But I got to a point where I didn't even want to talk to this person on the phone because it's like, oh God, we're gonna have another argument. I don't want to fight. I really don't want to fight. And it was always constantly something. It was constantly something. And I just got to the point that I said, you know what? I'm just gonna I actually became passive. I became passive aggressive where when I knew that the person had an attitude, it was like, okay, this is no new feat. This is a thing that they do. So becoming passive, I just let them have their attitude, and I kind of blocked it out. I tuned it out. Instead of really putting my foot down, which I eventually ended up trying to do later on because I got fed up. I got tired, and I said like something to the effect of, that gave that person indication like, okay, she's pissed off. Like, I'm getting mad now. Now it's not even about crying. It's not being about being sad. It's about being pissed off. You're really pissing me off right now. And that's another thing. If they see that you're standing up for yourself and you're being strong, and I mean, like, you got a backbone, man. You got a serious backbone. Trust and believe. Do not sit there thinking that their bluff isn't real, because it's real, bro. It is real. Okay. The person talked down to me. The person talked to me like I was a little freaking weakling, like I was a piece of crap. Like, oh, like they felt sorry for me. They felt pity for me. That's how they talked down to me. They talked down to me because they thought I was weak. He thought I was weak. And you know something? You're a weak girl. You love me. You're not going anywhere. I can probably get away with this shit. That's how he thought. I'm sure that's how he thought. And the way he spoke to me, you would have thought that I was one of those kids with the backpack that the parents walk around with the kids in the mall. They got the little backpacks and the tie, yeah, those little animal backpacks. And when they get too far, you just yank them back. That's where you would have thought that I was in that kind of relationship. You would have thought that. And the crazy part is, He convinced other people that it was the other way around, that I'm the one who was trying to control him. I'm the one who had the whip on him. Nah, baby, that was his baby mom's with that trauma bond. That wasn't me. But that whole entire time, he talked down to me and he made me feel like I was a worthless piece of crap, like I wasn't a human being. And when push came to shove, that I eventually started to move forward and I started to build and I started to do what I had to do. When I started creating that backbone, little did people know the backbone that I was creating for myself wasn't just a regular, it was a backbone made of steel. It was made of steel, meaning that I ain't bending backwards for nobody. Nobody. Not gonna happen. And from that point on, the level of how the attitudes change, the table starts to turn and it starts to flip around, because the reality of it is all of that projection that was projected onto you was from their weakness, their insecurities, their instability, their emotional destruction, their psychological, their psychological issues. That was all from them. Once you start creating that backbone for yourself and you start standing up for yourself and you literally sit there, listen, one thing I could say, and I was just talking with Amanda about it earlier, and I said, I never thought I would be this kind of person. I never thought I would get to this point, to the point where, I know I was talking to one of my other coworkers. I said, it's sad that I have to be at this point where I have to have thick skin and not really care about, more than what I really want to care about. Like at this point, my main focus is caring about the people, which are you guys, the people who are going through it, through emotions, the general people in my life, my child, but that's it. I don't overextend myself anymore. I'm not putting myself in that position anymore. And the experience that you have in dealing with these people is going to put you to that point. You're no longer going to be that person that can't say no. You're no longer going to be that person that is like, okay, you're only giving me an inch, but all right, no problem. I'll give you a yard. Maybe next time you'll give me a yard. You will not be that person anymore. You won't. You're going to be the kind of person that's like, you giving me an inch? We'll come back when you've had the rest and then we'll talk. That's the way you're going to be. Now, for nothing, an inch is a little too small for me anyway, so it don't really matter, does it? Hi, Sergio. Mm-hmm. Sergio says it gets real when they falsely accuse you of DV and restraining order and you have to go to court. It does. It does. It does. It does. I've worked in the criminal, but not in the criminal justice system, but the level of, work that I've done, it was involved with the criminal justice system. And you know how many domestic violence cases I have seen from with these young females who end up putting these men in jail simply because either the guys didn't want to be with them anymore. They end up or if the guys have a new girlfriend or what have you, and it's just all kinds of nonsense. And the crazy part about it is that with domestic violence cases, there's always going to be a restraining order. So if the guy is not doing what the girl wants him to do, or if he's not, you know, basically succumbing to her every wants, she has the right to call the cops and say, "Oh, this person violated the order of protection," and then go and arrest them again. I bailed out somebody who had this most vindictive ex-girlfriend. I mean, she was vindictive. And I didn't personally bail them out. I worked for a bail bonding company. Okay. Let's get that straight. But she was so vindictive, she kept putting him in jail. She kept locking him up. She kept calling the cops and getting him arrested on, off the strength that she has a restraining order against him. Mind you, this guy didn't want anything to do with her. He had a girlfriend. He was happy. He wanted to be, with his new girl, and only thing he wanted to do was take care of his kid. But because she's so vindictive and because she's so spiteful, she would get him locked up. It's like, yo, you have to be pretty pathetic to do some stuff like that. You have to be really pathetic to sit there and try to sabotage someone else, try to, be petty and spiteful and vindictive and hurtful towards someone who is simply, listen, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. It is what it is. But because of the rejection wound, I guess that person is facing, they feel it feasible to get the person locked up, because it's like, okay, screw it. Now you're in jail. Your girlfriend can't have you because you're locked up, and you can't see your kids because I have an order of protection on you. And a lot of the females who do this kind of stuff do it in an attempt to get rid of the other person, because the other person's going to clearly be like, okay, this is too much drama. I don't want nothing to do with it. It's just too much drama. And what's going to happen? After all is said and done, order protection and all, that same chick is going to end up trying to go back to the dude and saying, we belong together. Don't break up the family. We got a child together. We can make things work out. This is what we do. This is our thing. It's fucking toxic, bro. Toxic. Hi, Riri. Ty, listen. An inch cannot go a long way. Let's just say that. It really can't. Okay? Even Subway gives you 12 inches. I'm just saying.
Who takes 12 inches?
Huh?
Who takes 12 inches?
My point of it is this. My point of it is this. If you're gonna have an ego, if you're gonna be arrogant, if you're gonna be cocky, if you're gonna be nasty, if you're gonna be rude, if you're gonna be any of these things, you need to at least make sure that you got something to compensate for all of that. I'm sorry, okay? Okay? Just like they say, act your wage, you're gonna have to act your penis size too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Come on now, Jesus. I'm just saying Adam and Eve. I just keep saying Adam and Eve.
I'm just simply saying.
Adam and
I'm
Eve.
just simply saying. Okay.
Everybody who's in them group discussions know Adam and Eve.
Listen. That's cool, Ty. I'm in good behavior too, but I'm just saying. Ladies. Honestly speaking, first of all, we all know how I get down, okay? And I say it like it is, okay? But at the end of the day, if I'm taking one for the team, I mean, come on. Like you can't come, with a little club talking about I'm ready to play ball. No. You can't do it. It's not gonna happen. Okay? We'll be a savage. I'll be a fucking savage. I don't care. I do not care. You can't. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna be the way you are. Hey. And no, I'm not drinking, guys. I'm not drinking. But I'm simply saying. I know you wouldn't understand it because clearly, but I'm simply saying. And see, yeah. Let me tell you something. Okay. Because hey, listen, I'll carry the ruler with me. I will carry the ruler with me. The man wants to sit here and be on some. Oh, you want to do that? You want to do that?
I just said who got the ruler.
Okay. I've come to learn that people who bully people, are clearly people who suffer inadequacies in other aspects of their life, okay? And it doesn't just have to be in physical form, it could be in any kind of form. A bully is simply someone who is very insecure with themselves. And because they perceive themselves that way, they see themselves in that light, they automatically assume other people think of them in that same light. That's why they project onto people. So if you have someone who's like, I'm extremely insecure, I'm worthless, I'm not worth a damn thing, they're walking around automatically assuming that other people see them in that same way. That's what projection is. So what do? They're looking at you like, oh, this person looks at me the way I look at myself. So they just start attacking the other person. They just start attacking the other person. That's what bullies do. Bullies, that's just simply what they do. They project onto you their inadequacies, or their perceived inadequacies. They project onto you what they see about themselves, how they feel about themselves. And they basically, because they're just seeing you, they're seeing red. They're thinking you think of me the same way I think of myself, so I'm gonna come and lash out on you and put things in your head, and make you feel like crap because you automatically think I am this way. You're thinking about me the way I think about myself. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Sergio. It's when you show lack of self-love in your relationship, they're going to run with that. Okay? Anybody who's looking to take advantage of the situation, take advantage of you. If you show them that you don't have self-love, if you show them you don't have self-respect, they're going to take advantage of that. And I'm not and listen, it doesn't even have to be like, you know, deliberately. It doesn't have to be on a real conscious level. It just means that, it could be subconscious. You can be demonstrating insecurities. You could be demonstrating, certain types of like behaviors that are indicative of your trust issues. It could be anything. And people who are looking to take advantage of that, people who are looking to take you for granted, will run with that. They'll run with it. So they'll automatically look at you like, oh, you're weak. You're in love with me. You are willing to take my abuse, my verbal abuse. And don't listen, guys, don't take verbal abuse as just being called names or, like insulting you. No, verbal abuse, it could be in any way, shape, or form. It's the level of disrespect that determines it to be verbally abusive. Okay? They look at you like, I can say and do what I want because you put up with this all of this time. You put up with this throughout the entirety of our relationship, and here you are still trying to make things work with me. That's their mentality. You're trying to make things work with me. Hell yeah, I'm gonna take advantage. Hell yeah, I'm gonna run with it. Hell yeah, I'm gonna do what I want to do because you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You're still going to be here. And if you dealt with someone that you have a trauma bond or had a trauma bond with, that you were constantly going back, constantly re entering their life and them re entering yours, okay? That person clearly had you wrapped around their finger and clearly knew that no amount of disrespect, no amount of emotional, verbal, and maybe in some cases physical abuse would push you to leave because you were still sitting there trying to make things work out, trying to that, recreate that relationship that you first had in the beginning when it was the honeymoon stage. It'll never be the same. It will never be the same, guys. And anyone who's dealing with a discard or anyone who's considering going back to someone who is a narcissistic, narcissistic tendencies, behaviors, what have you, it will not change. It will not change. And the reason it will not change, and I've said it plenty of times, and I've even done videos on it, the reason it will not change is because what you allow will continue. It will continue. And it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. Yeah, Millie, it is horrible. And you know, we look at the way they treated us. I know a lot of you have probably looked at it like, to some degree, I'm unlovable. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with me, and I mean, this is all I can get out of life, and that's so not the case. It really isn't. It really is not. I used to think that I was unlovable. I used to think that I had to prove myself to gain validation and to gain acknowledgement. I was so insecure with myself. I wasn't, I mean, I never competed with other people because I never felt the need to do that. I used to be a really shy person, and I was just the kind of person that was like, I settled. I settled for less than what I deserved. And it was simply because someone gave me that breadcrumb. They would give me the breadcrumb, they'll give me the bare minimum, and I would act like the bare minimum was a whole loaf of bread. And thinking that, oh my gosh, this person is being nice to me. This person, first of all, if you are giving respect and you're giving love and you're giving, complete sincerity to someone else, that is something that should be reciprocated. Otherwise, don't be in the dynamic. I used to sit there and be like, when this right here, this cup, let's say they would give me the love, the affection, the attention, the respect, or whatever. After I done gave them a whole pitcher, okay, and I get this little cup filled with it, I'm like this, holding on to it for dear life. Like, oh my gosh, this is my precious. Now I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Don't spill the wine.
I'm like, what is that? What is that? I give you a whole picture of everything, and I get this little cup. I get this little thing. And those who suffer codependency look at this like this is something to be proud of. It's something to be, oh, okay, well, they gave me only this little bit, but I mean, I'm really not worthy of love. I'm really not, so this should be good enough for me. This is nothing. This is nothing compared to what it is you could be getting from someone who actually values you and actually respects you and actually will reciprocate an equal amount of what it is that you put out there. That's it. Exactly, Ty. He says the problem is the love we give them is going into a cup with holes in it. And that is exactly the case. You can give them, ladies, you could you can glue diamonds down there if you wanted to. The most they're gonna do is pull the diamonds off, and then when they're done, they're still gonna be on their bullshit. Fellas, the same thing for you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter, what you tell them. It doesn't matter how you can serenade it to them. You can write them a poem. You can do, the rose petals on the floor. You can light up the candles. You can clean up the house. You can make dinner. You can take care of the kids. You can do whatever. And it's always going to be something that they're going to end up pinpointing that is a character flaw, a character flaw. It's always going to be something. You can go out of your way and get them the nicest gift possible. And you know what the common question will be? Well, how much did you pay for that? How much did you pay? How much did you pay for this? What does it matter how much I paid for it? I got it for you. You try to do something nice, get them something nice. What brand is this? Is this, it doesn't have a brand name. Listen, I went to Payless. I saw a cute bag. I thought you would have liked it. So I got it for you. What does it matter where I got it? What does it matter how much I paid for it? Listen, these people are selfish. These people are the kind of people that will always find something wrong in any situation. And as long as they can always find something wrong in the situation, they are justified in their actions. They're justified in the things that they do. And that's just and that's the mentality they live with. That's the mentality they live with. And that's the mentality they are projecting onto their children. So the next few generations, it's going to be worse. It's going to be a whole lot worse. We live in a society right now, guys, that there is so much exposure and there is so much, you have so many people out there competing with one another and trying to outdo each other and trying to just, be noticed and be known and be, in the spotlight. And it's like, for what? For what? Attention? Attention is the new oxygen. Attention is the new oxygen. People are like literally trying to survive off of that. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And they will, Ty, they'll always find the way. They'll always find the way to ruin good moments. They'll always find the way to just, you could be doing something nice for them and they'll compare you to, like, or they'll compare the situation with you with other people. If you notice, they will compare you to exes, or they'll compare your scenario with another scenario. It's like there's always a comparison. And Ty just said it. He would do these nice things for his lady and what have you, and boom, what other girls are you doing this for? Who else are you doing this for? And it's like, what does it matter who I did it for? Because you could have done it for as many women as you were with. That's just generally who you are. That's your character trait. That's what you put into a relationship. But what does it matter who I did this for? I'm here with you right now doing this for you. At least our character traits, if we had done the same things for these people, like other people in the past, anyone you had dealt with in your past, at least we have a character trait where we can say, well, shit, we treat people good. We treat them accordingly. We treat them with, catering to them, and because we know what to contribute in a relationship. Theirs, not so much. Not so much. She was asking who I'm doing it with while she's not here. I'm I'm all too familiar with that. I'm all too familiar with that because I used to get that. I used to get not the same exact words, but I would get, it would be the questioning me and looking at me with suspicious eyes. Yeah, trying to catch me in something that I didn't do. I'm way too familiar with that. Charisse, okay, Charisse, I just have to, because Amanda usually handles that. Hmm? So
Oh,
yeah, she said that she changed her name.
mhm.
So to do the for the moderators, um, can I do it offline? I can do it offline, right? I can add her, and then when we do the next live,
Mhm.
Sharice, do you what was your old name?
Sure, it's
It was that one?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm sorry, hun. My you have to excuse me.
Mhm.
I'm so beat. I really am. But also, Sharice, if you do TikTok, um, I can also add you on there if you don't mind. If you follow the TikTok lives, because so far I only have two moderators, and I need a few more. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that name.
I took a screenshot.
All right. So, Sharice, Amanda's gonna add you on here, and again, if if you do follow on TikTok as well, because when I do my lives there, I get like bombarded. Um, but if you know, that's if you're interested in doing it, and if you do go on TikTok, um, because I definitely need a lot of help there. What happened?
You okay today?
Hmm?
You okay today?
I've
What
been
are
up
you what are you grabbing
since
for? You just
45 this morning. Please. Listen, listen. And then somebody had the nerve. Remember when I told you? Somebody had the nerve to say, of all places, you post this content on TikTok, the most narcissistic platform, and he went along to say, oh, take my dislike, and I was about to tell him to. I know my father. I know my father's here, and Dad, if you know my mouth, okay, I'm like you in so many ways, but I'm like mommy in so many other ways too. Okay, but he was just like, oh, you like, because people, I've noticed people look at TikTok and they're like, oh, it's not a very serious platform, but it's wherever you're trying to create awareness. It doesn't matter the platform. It doesn't matter where, as long as you're trying to help other people. Hi, Cicely. Hi, sweetheart. But he was just like, TikTok of all places. I'm like, yeah, you didn't suck
you
my.
got people you got people walking on crates. I mean,
Yeah, but it's a good place to also educate people, because you have education. It's not just about like trends and challenges and dancing and all that stuff. It's a platform for other things too. It's not just that. But apparently, trying to educate people and trying to, you know, help as many people as you can by creating, that's how you create awareness.
mhm.
Awareness is about spreading the word and passing it along to everyone, passing it along to everyone and, helping them through it. And then you got my aunts watching too. Now I'm really gonna have to tone it down because I got my aunts watching too. Uh, this is just it's one. You listen. My dad already knows. My dad knows how I get down on here, and when it boils down to it, I'm all about the people. I'm all about the relationship. I'm all about the victims and the survivors, and I'm very passionate with what I do. So I try not to offend people, but it's hard. It's hard not to offend people because it's like you get so many people who come in and try to tear down what you build up, and then it's like Okay. All right. You try not to be. You try not to be a savage. You really do. Okay. So I have no more coffee.
It's not helping you learn. Definitely is not.
I'm trying hard to keep my tracks from being seen.
That's what you're worried about?
I'm trying
You're
hard.
having imaginary things? Your hands are just wandering?
Yeah. I'm like. I'm like. Ugh. But guys, yeah. Yeah. But just so you guys understand, like the level of everything you have gone through is not indicative of you don't deserve love. It's it doesn't mean that you don't deserve love. It doesn't mean that you aren't worthy of the things that you really truly are worthy of. It just simply means that these people have an inability to be in, sustainable, emotionally sustainable relationships, commitments. The level of commitment is not it, it's a very contradicting type of relationship. Okay, it's very one-sided. Everything's a contradiction with them. So at the end of the day, you're really gonna. Oh, tell them I said thank you. I'm trying here. Trying hard. Riri, my birthday is January 5th. I'm a January Capricorn. But just remember that it doesn't mean that you're not lovable, that you don't deserve love, that you have to settle for less. You got to settle for, what these people have done, and or you have to settle for people of this nature. You really don't. You really don't, guys. I say it countless times. There's just way too many people on this planet. It's probably a little more than 7 billion, I'm sure. To sit here and just cry over people and hurt over people and ruminate over people who you know would probably end up selling your soul to the devil for a gold coin. It's not worth it. It really, really isn't.
Listen, I'm the one with the alcohol in my system, okay?
Yeah, Amanda's sitting here drinking. She's drinking. She's the one drinking, and I'm the one who's having trouble keeping everything in place, guys. I'm the one having trouble.
Are you coming to me for one word?
I'm just saying, I just have privacy, okay? Hi, Angela. Happy Friday. Ugh. And I just want to, just a quick shout out to the people who have done the sessions with me, as of lately. I'm really what?
Angela goes, Amanda, why are you always drinking? My therapy.
Oh, that's right. You are always drinking.
No, I'm not. You make me sound like a straight up lush. Stop it.
It's the wine, guys. She's drinking wine.
You kick me off of Bailey's and make me drink
I
wine
kicked her
now.
off the hard liquor, and now she's drinking the white wine. Welcome to adulthood.
I know. I'm an adult now.
Like you said, you'll lose your life over these idiots, and they'll show up to your funeral with someone else on their arm. Did I not say that? I could have sworn I said that. Okay. They'll show up with the
Well,
next
not
person or the ex person.
not in those specific terms, but you said it in some kind of context.
Why cry over people who will bring someone else to your funeral if you die tomorrow? Yeah, I said it. I know what I said. The next bitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they are bitches. That's because they are. Everybody knows my terminology when it boils down to female narcissists. What are they? They're too hot. I think if I stretch out the word, it won't get bad.
It's still what it is, okay?
They're too hot. I think I'll make a song out of it. I think that's that's gonna be
No,
my next
just stop.
project.
Stop.
That's gonna be my next project.
Stop. You got enough
That's gonna be
things.
my next project, guys. Making a song.
No.
No, I didn't. She was the one who went to the liquor store. She said, "Did you get some of that
What?
black girl magic?"
What is that?
I guess it's a wine.
I know of it as in the sense of
Okay.
people, but I don't know about it in alcohol.
She's had black girl magic. She just never
Shush,
had the
don't
wine.
spread my woman. It's a wine? I could get it tomorrow.
Well, listen, when Angela, because Angela be feeling nice, and she be like,
I know. I may
so I
have
know
to
I be wanting some of
rethink
that. I be wanting some of that too. I stopped drinking 7 years ago, cold turkey, and always found it weird. No support. It's hard when you're trying to quit something and you don't really have support, which is usually why I encourage people, like in dealing with situations like this, it's always important to have support because, sometimes you will end up, slipping and sliding and, which when it boils down to like hoovers and stuff like that, it makes it very difficult to resist because when you don't have the kind of support you need to help you get through the motions, you'll end up regressing and you'll end up going back into the cycle again. So, which is why I do the group support meetings, and I do the sessions, the one-on-one sessions, because I know the difficulties of getting over the hump and trying to move forward, and of course trying to get out of the addiction stage of a discard to go into the next stage to do your healing. um I know, trust me, I know. Because I failed a few times myself, guys. I failed a few times myself. Okay. I can't just sit there and say that that person just, consistently tried to hoover me in. I actually, kept breaking, in the beginning, I was breaking no contact and I was reaching out to the person. And, I don't know if it's because that person was calling me in, because people tend to do that too. They call you in, like they try to like energetically pull you in, or
like a meeting or something.
but it's all a way to kind of get you to break no contact, or they may do things that'll get you to break no contact. And I'm not making no excuses for my behaviors. I broke no contact a couple of times when I was dealing with it, and when I finally said nope, enough is enough and I'm not doing it anymore, that's when I completely took myself off of social media, and I just wanted to focus on me. It was a hard, very, very hard choice that I made, but I'm glad I made it. I'm glad I made it, because I don't think if I hadn't made that choice and I actually ended up, reverting back into everything and just kind of going backwards, I don't know where I would be right now. I really don't know where I would be right now, because it was just that situation of, you're in that situation of being with someone and they just kind of like have you so weak in the knees that it's just,
No,
yes, you do.
I don't remember it no more. I got black men in black. Ching.
Yeah, that alcohol getting to her already, guys.
I don't remember it anymore.
Godzilla, I can feel the energy. I can feel that energy for real. They will, yeah. Especially if you're trying to like create a pathway for yourself to go in a different direction. They will try their hardest. They really, my issue is like that dark energy type stuff that tries to tug at me, and thankfully I haven't had any triggers or anything like that. I've been having like dreams, though, weird, really, really weird dreams that brings me back to certain situations, certain areas of my life when I was with this person. And I just resisted. I just kind of like, Kareem spirit works. Erica might be a leader. I I never, and you know what the funny part about it is? I've been one who I'm in like I don't know what's the term for it? Not so much a leader, but like more like an encourager maybe, or someone who there's for me there's no positions like leadership. It's just pretty much I'm just here to
Counselor?
be whatever you need me to be for you. That's all I am. That's all I am. I've never really, I mean, I'm not a follower, I know that, like in the sense of following other people and their trends and things like that. But I usually like to just kind of say, there's no I in team. There's just, there's just you, there's me, there's us, all of us. But Maritza, hi all, I'm struggling tonight. I don't want him back, but I have been feeling his presence so strong that I've been emotional. Don't know how to shake it off. The level, one thing I've known, one thing I realized, it's not that bad. It's not that serious. Okay. All right. What noise? Then lower the volume. Thank you. And I almost lost my train of thought because of you. The the presence, the feeling of the energetic presence, the feeling of the pull and the you know people have ways of, because you know what they say, we're all energetically connected, right? We all have cords and we're energetically tied to one another. For example, me being here now, each and every one of you, everyone who's interacts, or even anyone who comes in here, an energetic cord gets pretty much directed towards the person that you are in contact with. The level of the cord, and this is why they say, I don't really know how effective it is when it deals with like cord cutting and things like that. I've heard of cord cutting, but I'm not really into that spirituality Reiki type stuff. I don't really, but not to say it doesn't exist, because I mean, listen, if it does, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But when they're constantly on your mind, when they're constantly, and this could be at moments where you're not even trying to think about them. I've seen it plenty of times where I'm not even trying to think about the person. I'm just trying to get on with my shit and just do what I got to do. And they just like keep popping up in my head, or, certain things. If I see certain things, it's reminding me of them. Or, I had seen some, I think I mentioned it the last time here, but I had seen some writing on the walls in the neighborhood where, I wait for my bus to go home, which coincidentally is where his relatives live in the same area. But the irony of the stuff that I seen on the walls and the writing, it just kind of like, I'm like, okay, is this like cryptic messages? Am I getting cryptic messages? I think a lot of the time, they try to do things that affect your free will, in that they try to, send the energy to you, like intentionally. They do it with intent to really to keep your mind stuck on them, to keep you. They may do things, that can be like, for example, like from a fake page or something, or try to just create scenarios where it'll get you like drawn back into thinking about them again, re-involving yourself, reinvesting yourself. It The best thing I could tell you with that, Marissa, is to just keep fighting it, keep fighting it, keep resisting it. Okay, because resistance, when you resist it, it kind of like pulls the person even more. But that's simply because of the level of rejection. So like when you're trying to reject something, or you're trying to reject someone, and they keep coming back, it's because of that rejection. But in this case, even though you guys aren't physically around each other, and you're saying you don't want them back, which is great, you just have to keep trying to resist it. I would say, pray on it, meditate, excuse me, meditate, try to distract your mind, try to do things that's distracting, to kind of pull you away from it. Um, Journal it, you can write down what you're thinking about at the time, and how it makes you feel. I found that to be pretty therapeutic, and I'll write things down no matter what it was: anger, hurt, pain, happiness, what have you. And then when I'm done with it, I just kind of like, I pray over it, and I just pray for God to release it, release me from it, take it out of my heart, take it out of my home, take it out of my mind. And but try your best. Just you have to try to resist it by any means. So just remember that the level of what you guys go through, because I know a lot of people do believe in spirituality. They believe in, different, everybody believes in different things. I'm a firm believer that when they have their intentions set, especially if they deal with like maybe dark energy, or, they have like malicious, intentions or thoughts, or they deal with, different types of dark forces, spirituality, witchcraft, what have you, because anything's possible, anything is possible. They're really trying to affect your free will. So they're trying to control you from a distance. They're trying to control you from a distance. And just be wary of, what goes on around you when you're outside. If they have no access to see like around your house, or see in your home or anything, because a lot of time too, they're watching you and you don't even know it. They could be watching you. I'm pretty sure I got people watching me, but what am I going to do, right? But they will try any and everything possible to stay in your presence, stay on your mind by any means necessary. And that's often because, when you don't want them anymore, or you are no longer interested in them, you no longer have anything for them, like you really don't feel anything towards them. That's like a high level of rejection for them, because it's like, how dare you not want me? How dare you not want to be around me? And listen, I say just throw them to the cretins that they shitted on you for, and the things that they've done, all the horrible things they've done to you. Throw them right back to them. Yeah, and prayer works, guys. I don't know about everybody else. Everybody believes in what it is, but prayer works. It really, really does. It gives you just that, like, it gives me that comforting feeling. It makes me feel good to know that, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I haven't prayed in a while, which, me talking about it, I know I have to get back into my praying. But it definitely brings you that peace of mind, and cleanses, like, when you pray and you bind anything that has been thrown to you, or anything that is not of God in your home. Pray over it. Just pray over it, because God is a lot more powerful. All right, a lot more powerful. And bind it all, and get rid of it. If you guys have anything that belongs to them, or anything that they had given to you from their hands to yours, and vice versa, if you have anything of theirs in your home, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Trust me when I say you need to get rid of it. Okay? If these people don't have good intentions, sorry about that. If they don't have good intentions, or if they're really trying to throw anything negative towards you, please get rid of it. Okay? Anything that's in your home that is not, that is, related to the relationship that you had with these people, you have to get rid of it. It's important. Would I be frowned upon if I admit I was able to get revenge on the narc? Not by survivors. Not by survivors. I mean, sometimes survivors, they're able to get revenge. Sometimes they're able to get revenge and they're able to get away with it, and sometimes they survivors you have survivors that just, don't do it. They just move on with their lives. But I'm pretty sure, though we don't encourage revenge, if you manage to get away with revenge unscathed and unhurt in the process, I'm pretty sure a lot of survivors would not be. They'll actually want to know how it went. Yes, Angela says, talk to God. He will help you find peace. Absolutely. Amen, Ty. Legally and ethically and unscathed. Nice. Hey, listen. That's I'm pretty sure that's something that if someone could get away with it, they would walk with their head high. And I guess, I every situation is different. So if you were able to accomplish that, kudos for you. Ty says a lot of the time we don't see the hell they go through because God knows if we saw it, we probably want to help them. I actually, I agree with that, to be honest. When you have people, because sometimes God will give you front row seats. God will give you front row seats when it comes to witnessing the karma of people who have, not only done you but done a lot of people wrong. And sometimes, if you get the inkling, I mean, this is why I said before, be careful with that trying to save people, because some people may be facing God's wrath and you're trying to save them from something that they set themselves up for in the beginning. You end up getting caught in the middle of it. So sometimes, yeah, he might just do things behind the scenes and have them face whatever it is they're going to face on their own, because, you know, if you get any idea or any little thing that tugs at your heartstrings or makes you feel some kind of way, you might feel like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, I wanted them to pay but not suffer that bad. Listen, this is why God gives you the opportunity to repent and ask for forgiveness from other people, to redeem yourself, because at the end of the day, if you don't do it and you hurt someone who is a child of God, you hurt someone who, clearly has a strong connection with God and had nothing but good intentions for you, and he's the one who's going to lay the wrath on you, man, listen, God's wrath is truly meant to humble people in more ways than one. And by humbling people, that can mean taking away everything, materialistically, financially, what have you, everything away from them. He giveth, he can take it. And pretty much, I look at it as listen, I am not responsible for anyone else. I'm not responsible for anyone's emotions. I'm not responsible for anyone's feelings or what they're dealing with in their life. I'm not responsible for any of that. Okay? I didn't put people in the position that they're in. It's not my job to get them out. It's not my job to get them out. Okay? If God is giving you a spanking outside my door and he's telling me you open that door, you're going to get that spanking too. Sorry, bro. Sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. Exactly. Angela says sometimes God wants to deal with them, but we're standing in his way. This is why, don't get in the mix of other people. If they come back and tell you, oh, I'm dealing with this and that and this and that, hey, hey, that's between you and God. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me. You know where you guys were. You know what you guys were doing. You treated these people with kindness and love and respect and loyalty. And in return, they treated you with the total opposite of that. And at the end of the day, you've asked for forgiveness from God because you put that relationship on a higher pedestal. You pretty much went in your direction to do what it was that you needed to do to work on yourself and continue being the same person you are. Listen, if we ever do wrong, we get punished, do we not? Do we not? Because listen, nobody's perfect. We've all messed up in our lives at some point. We've all done something wrong or bad at some point, and we've all had to pay for that. So why the hell can't they? Why can't they pay for what they do? Why do we have to go through what we go through and then see them going through something themselves and still feel the need to try to save them and pull them out? Listen. Good luck with that one, man. Good luck with that one. Because I'm not I'm no longer going to be that person. First of all, I'm not Superman. I'm not Superwoman. I'm not even freaking Batman. Hell, I'm not even the Joker. I don't give a damn what happens. That has nothing to do with me. So whatever other people are facing, let them face it. Let them face it. You had to face what you went through. Now they got to face what they got to go through. They should have listened. They should have listened. They should have actually utilized their free will to do good deeds, to do good things. No, they didn't do it. That's their problem. Now they want to sit there and cry victim. Oh my gosh, I'm having bad luck. I'm having a string of bad luck. This is happening to me. That's happening to me. And I don't understand. So you crying as a victim because of your own circumstances, you're the one who set yourself up for this. Because we're not taking revenge on them, are we? Are we doing anything to them? No, we're not. We're simply healing and moving on. But because they are going through whatever it is they're going through, now they want to be like, oh, you were my rock. You were the one who was always there for me. Key word, bro, was past tense, long time ago. That ain't me no more. Okay, that is not me no more. Go back to that spot where you left me and see if you can find the old me. Cause I ain't there no more, as you can see. Nope. Yeah, Ty says we think they rode off into the sunset with a new love and they're happy. Nope. And even at the end of the day, listen, man. Listen, I don't one thing I tell people, I don't wish bad. I don't wish bad on my ex. I don't wish bad, anything bad to happen. But if that person is facing stuff in their life, they need to understand that, with every action comes a reaction. Okay? With every action comes a reaction. And, with your actions, subsequent to your actions, you're going to be faced with either consequences or circumstances. There's a big difference between the two. Okay. And if you're facing consequences based on the type of actions that you have already put out there, because what you put out there, you reap what you sow, right? What you put out there is what you're going to get back. So if you're being a manipulative, betrayal, some type of person, you're going to be around people who are going to be manipulative and be betraying you. It's just the way life is. That's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. And something, I strongly believe, as far as we're concerned, people of codependency, people of, severe trauma in their own, within their own aspects, these are things that we've endured because of the lack of self-love we've had within ourselves. We've always been good people. We've always been there to help other people. And, we've always been the type of people that are people pleasers or trying to do the right thing or, just be good people for other people. But at the end of the day, there is something within us that needed to break free from it, man. We had to just say to ourselves, yo, something's got to give. My codependency, one of the things I can truly say, if I had the opportunity, I would thank my ex. I would thank my ex for being the way he was and for treating me the way he did and showing me that I can do better with myself, for myself, by myself. I don't need a man. I don't need someone else in my life. Only one I need to depend on is God. Okay? He's the only one I need to depend on. I don't need someone else to be here and think that they pull the reins, that they have control, that they can do whatever they want to do. And I'm just gonna, no, screw that, man. I pay my own bills. I pay my own rent. I take care of my own shit. I don't need someone coming into my life, into my home, thinking, well, I'm here now, so let's conform this to what I want. You better get the hell up out of my house and out of my face. That's what you better do. I'm not that same person I used to be. I'm really, really not that same person. No, absolutely, Ty. No one escapes karma. No one, everything we put out there, we get back. We get it back. Plain and simple. And the only reason a narcissist or narcissistic people want to cry victims is because they're victims of their own circumstances. They're out there shitting on people in the world. They're out there manipulating people, hurting people, lying to people. And then when they get things in return, that they're losing things, they're losing people, they're losing money, they're losing status, they're losing whatever, then they want to sit there and cry as the victim. I don't understand how this happened. you, and you never will. And you never will. And it's not my job to explain it to them. It's not my job to explain it to them. There is no amount of money in the world, and I'm sorry, I can't listen. I can say this because it's just a straight up truth. There is no amount of money in the world that will that is enough for me to sit here and say that I will try to transform narcissistic people. I'm not doing that. No, I have a better chance of transforming victims of abuse, of helping support victims of abuse who carry empathy and sympathy and love within themselves. I have a better chance of succeeding in helping the victims as opposed to helping the perpetrators. Leave that for the professionals. Let them deal with that. I've dealt with it enough throughout my life, just being in a relationship with these kinds of people. I'm not gonna freaking sit here and be like, okay, let's try to help you change. Nope, I'm good. I'm good. There's not enough Advil in the world for me to be dealing with that headache. I'm good. Absolutely. Todzilla says if you need to explain basic decency to an adult, there is something wrong. This is so true. That's right, Cicely. That's right. You keep going forward. What differentiates a narc and a sociopath? A sociopath is a lot more uh they're a lot more dangerous. I mean, a sociopath is actually a narcissist. Okay? A narcissist, however, is not necessarily a sociopath, but a sociopath is a narcissist. It's just the level of, because narcissists, narcissists are more on the plane, like most people would clearly categorize them on a more superficial level, but sociopaths are more, with like a criminal record, or more devious in their behaviors. Sociopaths are have been known to, I mean, clearly there aren't really much differences. Pathological liars, disregard for others' feelings, disregards for others, boundaries. They are risk takers. They're the kind of people that, at young ages, they were very like they would mutilate animals and just do really, really deep, dark rooted stuff. Narcissists are just, it's a personality disorder, of course, clearly with the distortion of the mind, but it's like just more about having a grandiose sense of importance. Sociopaths, it's just, there's that string, which is the trait that's carried on. It's like a genetic trait that's carried on, usually through the father's side. Um, and it's just pretty much where the level of the the disorder, the mental illness, the mental issues is just much more greater. More what is it? What is it? Malevolent. Is she asleep? I know she's not sleeping.
I'm here.
I thought she was falling asleep. Absolutely, Maritza. You ready for bed? Love you. It's more of a, yeah, it's more criminal. It's more of a, just like Maritza said, there's like, they're more criminally insane, you can say. Devious people, torturous, very conniving, very dark rooted, just like you would think that they are, the devil who parades around and just they're more dangerous. They're way more dangerous. Sociopaths can be alone as to where narcs need fuel. Yeah, I mean, sociopaths are about power. They're about power. Narcissists are about attention and, admiration, seeking that. Sociopaths are just more about having the power to do things and hurting people and you know creating wreaking havoc in people's lives and even when it deals with murderous types of behaviors. They're the kind of people that can be when I started my studies, I learned that sociopaths carry no type of remorse, no type of regret. Like you may probably have a better chance of a narcissist, developing regret and remorse, and that's a very slim chance as opposed to a sociopath. A sociopath is just simply it's like a deep black void, a completely deep blackened void with no sense of regard, sense of self, nothing. It's just like there's literally like nothing there, nothing at all. And it usually starts at a very very young age when they are at like that age of I read like when I was doing my videos, usually they start off with like committing crimes at a young age. It could start with small crimes and then work its way up to like more felonious crimes. um, the torturing of animals, like generally when young, especially boys, because it's more common with boys. um, the Usually they say that when a child is, when they are displaying certain traits and behaviors, it's best to get them tested, at a very young age so they can maybe start intervention early. But a lot of them end up becoming very, like just devious characters in society, you know. And I mean, I've always used him as a character reference, but I guess because it just pretty much goes without saying. Ted Bundy, he was a sociopath. He was classified as a narcissistic sociopath. Um, when you have these serial killers, a lot of them are either sociopaths or psychopaths. But the level of being a sociopath, a psychopath, a narcissist, it doesn't mean that they're insane. And I think that's where some people get it mixed up and confused. They think that they're insane. These people are no. Insanity is simply when you don't have the awareness. You don't have the awareness of what it is you're doing. That it's like completely physiologically, it's impossible to be aware of or be coherent of what it is you're doing. But sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, they know what they're doing. They are fully aware of what they do. So, yeah. Yeah, Maritza, it's I've a long time ago, um, more veering towards like when I was like 17, 18, I hadn't realized that I was dealing with a sociopath. And the level of disregard, and it was like just complete and utter blackness in their eyes. It was just like, and that was around the time that the person almost took my life, almost took my life. And it was just almost as if it's like, when they face rejection, it just, I don't know, it like, it lights something in them. And it's like, okay, I'm done with the conversation. It's over. You're rejected. It's just, it is what it is. But I saw the look in that person's face when I tried to walk away, and they literally tried to grab for my shirt. Like when I was literally leaving, they tried to grab, but the person that was there with them kind of like had to hold them in a corner. And the next day, it was almost as if that person, like the night before, didn't even happen, and it was just so weird. But when we confronted the situation again, they will wait until they can get you in a very vulnerable but more of a home advantage state. So they will wait, to get you out of your comfort zone, your safe area, your safe zone, and get you into their, that gives them the home field advantage, which is why I tell people, if people are looking to, oh, well, look, I just want to talk. Can we just talk about things? I just want to talk. Can you just come over and let's talk? Don't ever do that. Do not ever do that. Okay. Doesn't matter how nice they are to you. It doesn't matter how much they talk to you. It does not matter. Please, if you ever get messages, if you ever get, calls or what have you, can we just talk? Can we just sit down and talk? Okay. You know what? Give the benefit of the doubt. All right. In the sense of, you're going to have a conversation with someone, but you know what? It's going to be in a public place, and it's going to be where I'm comfortable. You never, ever, ever go where the perpetrator wants you to meet them and they have the high advantage. You never want to do that. I did that and I almost lost my life. I did it and I almost lost my fucking life. And I'm going to tell you, it's a very, very scary thing. And if you're going to ever, and this is just for future, if it ever happens, you make sure you let at least 5 people know your whereabouts. You all these people, give them the address of where you will be. Give them, take a freaking, if you can sneak a picture of the person, so that way you can, show them the last bit of article of clothing that they were wearing. Like, never ever go to their home, to their side where they have the advantage. Don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. Okay? You have to make sure that you are safe, and you have to make sure that no matter what, listen, I'd say don't meet them. I'd say don't go anywhere. But if it boiled down to something that you had to, something you had to do, never meet them on their territory. Never do that. Don't ever do that. Exactly. Maritza says, I've seen and experienced that same thing. They never forgive or forget. When that situation happened to me, that's one of the reasons why I had to move out of the borough. I had to move out of Brooklyn to move to Queens. You know, I had a restraining order on the person. My mom at the time had a restraining order on someone. We just, going crazy with restraining orders apparently. But we had to leave because it was considered an emergency transfer because we both had restraining orders on people. And that was an experience that I will never forget. I will never forget that experience. And to know that I survived it. I survived almost being killed by a sociopath. It's it's one for the history books for me, man. It really is. If they hate us so much, why do they contact? Even if it's threats, why do they want us to know they're there? Because as much as they hate you, as much as they despise you, as much as they really don't care about you, they want to control you. It's not about, we got to understand something. It's not about, oh, this person is, in love with me. This person loves me. This person wants to be with me. This person wants me. They want me. They want me. No, they don't. They don't. They don't love you. They don't want to be with you. They don't want to have, a close sit by the fireplace, drinking, wine or sipping hot chocolate. They don't want any of that with you. They want control over you. They want your resources. They want your assets. They want your status. They want any and everything that you have and to drain you completely of it. That's what they want. They want to be able to have someone to wrap around their finger. They want someone to control. That's what they want. And keep in mind that children are no exception to the rule. If they do this to their own children, they will do it to their partners, their friends, their colleagues, their other family members. There are no exceptions to the rules, guys. Cicely says when she pulled up on me, she had that sour face and then immediately switched to speaking like we've been friends and nothing ever happened. They tried to get you to forget. Move on. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's just push it under the rug and just move on to the next thing. Can we just move on? Why do you have to bring that up? Why do we got to bring up this? Why do we got to bring up that? Listen. After all of the lies and humiliation and verbal abuse, screw them. Yeah. Yeah. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. So when they want control, it's not just to have one up on us. They want us back in the cycle. Yes. Yes. They just want to play another game with you. They want to go on the merry-go-round again. They'll always be in competition with you. They'll always try to one up you. They'll always do tit for tat. It's simply to be able to say that I did it and I can do it again and I can do it again and I can do it again because this person will allow me to do it again and do it again. That's all it is. That's all it is, guys. Oh my gosh, I hadn't realized that. Hold on a second. I hadn't realized that we've been on all this time. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Yes, they do everyone like this. It's pervasive. It's pervasive behaviors. Pervasive behaviors, guys. But I want you to understand because I'm going to be working on some videos. I really want to start doing more content and working on the videos. So I am going to be working on the videos on the rejection wound, abandonment, the abandonment wound, and the betrayal wound. All right. I'm going to be making videos with regards to these types of wounds. I am still going to be working on the content in dealing with narcissistic abuse, but I do also want to start making content, creating content also for people who suffer codependency issues. Okay. It helps them understand their own issues and why they've, sustained these types of relationships and really just give them an in-depth understanding as to what types of wounds they are carrying in hopes that, they'll be able to have effective healing to move past that. Because let's face facts, guys, without enablers, Without codependence, narcissists would not have the reputations that they have, and they would not really exist. Okay, they wouldn't have the spotlight right now. All this awareness, I mean, listen, they might even take our awareness and what we're trying to do with this awareness and flip it around and be like, see, look, they're still talking about us, they still want us, you see, we're still the center of attention. That's just how they are, guys. That's how they are. Okay, they're just so deluded that they'll think that us talking about the stories and the situations is because we're not over them, we can't get over them, when the reality of it is that we're just simply creating awareness. Well, yeah, Gucci, but even if he goes to jail when he gets out, it'll be a never ending cycle for them. Okay, and as long as you're not playing it, you're not entertaining it, you're not feeding into it, hey, he has to go his way, you have to go yours. It's that time, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Have I ever yawned on air before? I have. Okay, so then I know. Sergio, that probably is a very big role. That probably is a big role. If your mom is a narcissist, that might be why you sustained the relationship with her for so long, because the level of the abusive behaviors and the patterns are very familiar because of, if your mom is a narcissist. But guys, I would love to say I'm so beat. I don't know if you guys can see it in my eyes. Like, I'm literally my eyes are starting to droop. But I will be working on that content for you guys. I was able to draw up April's schedule. Hmm? You sent that out already? Oh, okay. She sent it out already. Yes, Angela, I'm so exhausted. But uh Amanda says she sent out April's calendar. So you guys will see what's available for the group meetings for Skype and the one-on-one sessions. Um I'm doing a few more sessions, one-on-one sessions for April, and I'm just kind of, just doing a couple of Skype meetings for the group meetings for the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested, please shoot me an email. You look at the schedule, let me know what day works for you. We'll include you in on it. All right. And if you have any questions with regards to the schedule, just let me know. I'm here. Either myself or Amanda will respond. So yeah, check it out and let me know what's good. And if you guys want to join any of the group meetings, or if you wanted to do a one-on-one, and we'll set that up. Otherwise, no. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I'm exhausted, guys. I'm exhausted. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. For those who couldn't make it, I don't even know if they're gonna even take it this far to the end of the of the video when it streams. But for those who couldn't make it, it's all good. It's all love. Catch it on the stream. Any questions, you guys know where to reach me. narcsurvival101 at gmail.com. Or you can shoot me a message on Instagram. Um, TikTok, you guys already know. If you don't have one, please download one. Download one. Download it. I am tired. I know, Ty. I know. Yawning is contagious. We're all getting a little bit older. My knees are starting to cave in on me. So, but if you have TikTok, guys, please definitely do so. So, because I do need some moderators over there. So if you're interested in doing moderating for the live, I do broadcast lives. Let me know, and I'll be more than glad to add you to it. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it so far. I'll keep you guys posted on the new content and any other events that should take place in the near future. Um, there you go, Tygo. Enjoy the rest of your night. Watch your movie. Sergio, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Maritza, awesome. Have a beautiful night, guys. Okay, love you all. Have a beautiful weekend. I will see you next week. I'm gonna try to see if I can upload something for earlier in the week, so I have a little something there for everybody. And of course, I have my previous live that we're going to be uploading as well. So guys, have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you all next week. Any questions, you know where to find me. And until then, love, peace, blessings, happiness, all that good stuff for you guys. Much love to you all. Have a beautiful night, guys. Bye.